Hi, my name is Katie Bohack, and this is my Chapter 1 video discussion. We're going to go over what I learned, what was interesting, what I want to know more about, and my 3 questions. So, to start with what I learned that the solar system has a lot to do with oceans. I guess I didn't really think about what has effects on oceans, or I didn't really think about anything in this chapter. I really don't think I put 2 and 2 together. I never had the opportunity to think about it. It's just not something that I personally would have looked into. So that was really interesting. I also learned that there was chemical and physical data collected to support the hypothesis that there is or was water on Mars. I had no idea that they were even doing research or experiments to find out if there was water on Mars. I just assumed that it was a dry planet because it's so hot close to the sun. So to find out that years and years ago there could have been water on Mars like there is water on Earth, and considering that there's water, or there is or was water on Mars, that can tell us that there was possibly life forms on Mars, like humans and animals on Earth. Also something I never really thought about because I didn't know that they were doing experiments to see if there was or is water on Mars. I never thought that that was a possibility. I also had no idea that it took so many people and so many years to determine how old the Earth is. Now, this took years and years, and scientist after scientist, physicist after physicist, to determine how old the Earth really is. And they were so set in their time frame that when a scientist decided how old the Earth was, they would go against other scientists who thought it was older. And they were eventually proven wrong, but years later. So that was really interesting to learn about how many people were actually in the process of determining how old Earth was. Of course, they were wrong, but to still try to discover how old Earth was. Back then, they didn't have this technology, so I'm sure it was a lot harder to figure out. What was interesting is next. I found it very interesting that the Earth was not round. I just assumed by the shape of the globes and other diagrams that I have seen, I just assumed that the Earth was round, when in reality the poles are shorter than the equator, so making the Earth more oval than round, but not in a big, huge difference. But looking at the diagram anyway, it's not round, and I thought that was really interesting because my whole theory about Earth was that it was round. Well, either I didn't pay attention in science class, or I really thought the Earth was round. What I want to know more about. I would like to know more about the galaxies and solar systems. This really intrigues me because they have an effect on the ocean and how the ocean works. I would like to know more about this and the process that it affects. Also, if there's an effect on land too. This is really interesting to me because I never took the time to think about the galaxies and nebulas and the solar system, how it affects the way Earth functions. You know, to know a nebula is 5 million years old. 5 billion years old. I just had no idea the aspects around the solar system affecting the ocean. So I thought that was really cool, and I would definitely like to know more about that. So for my questions, my first question, how do we know that the solar system has an effect on the ocean? Again, this is something that interests me, so I would just like to know a little bit more about that and the process behind it. It didn't go into the detail in the book that I would like to know about it, but it did go into some detail. Number 2, did technology or knowledge help to define the age of Earth? since we did read that it took years and years and many scientists and physicists and all of these people to determine the actual age of Earth. So I was wondering if technology helped to allow us to understand the actual age of Earth, or did the knowledge from the previous scientists and physicists trying to determine the age help, or was it a combination of both, technology and knowledge? Number 3, the oceans are all connected. Why did we divide them into 5? I know the book goes a little bit over this topic, but just something that intrigues me, that we have this big ocean that's all connected, and then there's plots of Earth, continents in the middle of them, but we have divided the one big ocean into 5 oceans, obviously to make navigation easier and naming and knowing where you are, but also if there's other underlying reasons. Thank you.